Hello, and welcome to Miss Flores' fifth grade classroom. My name is Jennifer Flores, and today I'll be sharing my Google Classroom. So, as my class greeting or welcome post, I added, "Hello, and welcome to Miss Flores' fifth grade classroom. Take time and explore Google Classroom. I will go over it in more detail during class in person. Today, I would like for us to get started going over the class syllabus and taking time to introduce and know one another." So the first thing I added was introducing ourselves and introducing assignment, where I welcome the students to their first day of school and how they will be creating a Google Slides presentation introducing themselves. And I even provided a link with my presentation introducing myself. And their assignment is to create a 3 to 4 slide presentation introducing themselves, their hobbies, and their family. And I added in that they can use my presentation as a guide and example. And once they're done, they can present themselves with their presentations, which will count towards their participation points. So, opening up my Google Slides presentation where I introduce myself, I have introducing Miss Flores. I talk a little bit about me, my family, and my hobbies. Going back over here, I added a class syllabus where I go over the class expectations, class rules, and consequences. So, starting with my syllabus, I have my name, my email, my location, and then I jump right into the expectations. So it says students at Amistad Elementary will show Orca's pride, where Orca stands for only try your best, respect myself and others, calmly solve my problems, always show integrity, safety in everything I do, and these expectations will be used and modeled every day. Then I have my own classroom rules, which are be quiet and listen when others are talking, raise our hand and wait to be called on, keep hands, feet, and property to ourselves, use our manners or good words. And then I have the hierarchy of student consequences for rule violations. So, the student consequences for rule violations and other misbehaviors will be taught at the beginning of the school year and will depend on or vary on the misbehavior or violation. So, if a student's misbehavior or violation is minor, the students will receive a nonverbal warning. And if a student continues this misbehavior or violation, they will receive a verbal warning. And if the misbehavior continues, they'll be moved on to the reflection corner desk where they will need to fill out a behavior reflection. And once they're ready, they'll be allowed to rejoin the rest of the class. And if the student continues the misbehavior, they will need to stay in during recess or after school, and the parents will be informed through a call or email. And let's say if the student's misbehavior was major, then the student will be sent straight to the office where an administrator or school counselor would solve the problem and follow with consequences. So, zooming in, this is the hierarchy of consequences I know that I just went through. And I also have the My Behavior Reflections worksheet where the student will need to explain what happened first, what they did, what happened because of their behavior, reasons why they behaved the way they did, and what they will do differently next time. And it also includes the signature area for the teacher and parent after where the teacher and parent would have to sign it after the student shows it to them. And then going on to the rest of my syllabus, I have the classroom and student materials. I have the policy and procedure for absences and tardiness. I have the policy and procedure for assignments. I have my grading scale, my grading policy, and then I have the bottom part where it says, I have read through and understand the class syllabus. If I ever have any questions about it, I will contact the school or Miss Flores, and then the student and parent will sign if they agree. And then I have a syllabus quiz where they can go over and review the syllabus, take the quiz, And this quiz would be an open note quiz where they can go back to their syllabus and use it as needed. Opening the quiz, this is like what they have to answer. So their name, then a few questions just about the syllabus. I also added a question about what consequences there are for misbehavior. And here is the class average for the syllabus quiz where my two mock students answered. It shows the frequently missed question and then where they are at with their answers. Moving on, for my digital lesson, I created a Google Slides presentation going over reliable and unreliable sources. So I start out my presentation with the title, and then I have my learning target and success criteria. So for my learning target, I have students can look over different sources on the same topic or event and figure out the similarities and differences in the point of view they represent. And then for my success criteria, as I can learn about different types of sources and pick out the similarities and differences for my point of view. And then I have what reliable sources are and an example, what unreliable sources are not, and how they can be changed by anyone, and an example. And then my strategy for English language learners are these videos, which go more in depth about how you know if a source is reliable. Then I have these kid friendly websites where students are able to find reliable sources. And then I have an assignment where the students will need to research a topic of their choosing and find three sources, and then they'll need to fill out the Get Smart About Resources worksheet and reflect. So the Get Smart About Resources worksheet just pretty much has the students provide the three sources that they found on their chosen topic and explain what kind of source it is, like if it's a website, a book, or a magazine, how many paragraphs or pages are written specifically about the topic, and is there an information that indicates whether the author of the information has any expertise in this area, and list the basic information that the site provides about your topic. And the tip, use bullet points and phrases, not complete sentences. And then there's these questions that they will have to answer in order to reflect and come to a conclusion. Then I have the vocabulary words. Going back to it is just reliable sources and unreliable sources, since that is what the focus of the lesson is. And then to close it off, I have the learning target and success criteria once again. Then going back over here, I did add the link to the Get Smart About Resources worksheet. And then once again, I have the instructions. And then for the Edpuzzle assignment, I have the success criteria written on here, and also once you click on the video in the beginning and end, where it says I can learn about different types of sources and pick out the similarities and differences in their point of view. And for their assignment, I have please watch the whole video on Edpuzzle and answer the questions along the way. Opening the Edpuzzle, I added the success criteria in the beginning, where it says I can learn about different types of sources and pick out the similarities and differences within their point of view. I also have the questions along that they have to answer along the way. And once again, the strategy for English learners in this Edpuzzle is that they're allowed to turn in audio responses if needed. And then these are just the questions I had. And then once again at the end, I have the success criteria. Once again, I can learn about different types of sources and pick out the similarities and differences within their point of view. And then for the pre-assessment assignment, I have choose a topic of your choice with the list of topic ideas right under, and please fill out this KWL chart based on your knowledge about it. So I gave the students a list of topic ideas of recycling, gardening, healthy choices, and animal protection and care. And then I just created a KWL chart where they'll have to fill out the what I know and what I want to know section. And then for the post assessment, it ties in or connects to the pre assessment because they'll be creating a presentation using a template I created on Google Slides about the topic of their choice that matters to them using at least two sources. And then once again, the list of topic ideas of recycling, gardening, healthy choices, animal protection, and care. I also added the state standard, which is integrate information from several texts on the same topic in order to write or speak about the subject knowledgeably. And then I'm going to open the post-assessment template that I provided with the questions that they have to answer. So for the first slide, they have to name their topic and then their name. Then they'll have to answer what is the problem within your topic, and then why does it need to be solved, what have others already done, and what can you do? Now, going to people and grading and feedback, I have two mock students who have completed some of the work, and I have grades and feedback. So, for introducing themselves, that assignment, there wasn't really, um, how do I say this? I wasn't expected for them to do it, but I did add a comment. Unfortunately, like for one of my students, unfortunately, she did not complete it, so I said, you have not introduced yourself. For now, your grade will be marked as incomplete or 0, and you can always introduce yourself, and there will be a change since this was a participation grade. So if the student chooses to complete the assignment later on, I will add in a grade. Then my other student did complete the introducing yourself assignment, so I went over it and I noticed a few spelling errors, and I added that in my feedback where I said, overall, you did a great job introducing yourself. I noticed a few spelling and capitalization errors, so I added a few corrections. We'll work on this more throughout the school year. Apart from that, you did a great job. So I added the grade, and I also added comments on where specifically she had those errors. So in here where she says, I learned best by being hands-on and active, I added, I think you meant hands-on with this symbol in between hands and on. And then I also added for where she talks about my family comes from a Hispanic and Mexican background. I have capitalized the H in Hispanic and the M in Mexican since they are a race and ethnic group. And then where she talks about having a 15-year-old Yorkie named Roxy, I added capitalized the R in Roxy, so it'll be the name Roxy. Then I had the seeing, not seen comment over here. And I enjoy going to school to learn and see my friends. I added seeing, so it would be I enjoy going to school to learn and seeing my friends, or something like that. Going back to the quiz, I did grade it, but it wasn't really a requirement for this whole assignment. So I'll move on to the ed puzzle that they had to complete. So for the ed puzzle, I added their grades, and even though it says not turned in for this one, I did get to see if they watched it or not. So on ed puzzle, it shows that Tanya did watch it 100% of the way, and she answered the questions, which I graded. So I will go in depth over here. I believe I added some comments over here. Let me just click on it so I can compare and contrast between them. So for the Edpuzzle. I graded it. She got an 81 out of 100. And I said, good job. To check on what your score was on individual questions, feel free to check on Edpuzzle. Next time, please remember to hit submit or turn it in on here on Google Classroom after completing your assignment on Edpuzzle. And for her individual grades for the questions, I went through and saw if it was based on what I was looking for in the video and all of that, or the answers based on the video. And for this one, for what is an agenda, my student got it wrong, so I provided feedback saying good try, and then I added what an agenda actually is. And then if I keep scrolling, on the last question, she got partial credit because she did include the scholarly articles, and that is a type of source. But in my feedback, I added once again that they are good sources, and I was asking for the types of sources like newspaper ads and stuff like that, and how you can tell if they're reliable or unreliable. And then I added good try. And then I'm back to my next student. On hers, I added her grade and I said pretty much the same thing, a good job. To check on what your individual score was for each question, feel free to check on Edpuzzle. And then I graded the questions. So on this one, when can you provide the most accurate information? She answered, always. And since that wasn't really what I was looking for, I did add feedback where I say, you can provide the most accurate information all the time, but I was looking for when you have the whole truth. Good try though. And as we keep going, it's just the rest of the questions. Let me see if I can open the next ones. For the digital lesson assignment, I didn't really put it as a requirement for the whole key assignment thing because I already had a digital lesson. So what I added in as feedback is just the not a required grade for the virtual classroom assignment since I have the digital lesson. And I believe I added the same thing for the other one. Same thing on here. And then for the pre-assessment and post-assessment, they weren't really required for them to turn in. So what I added in as feedback, once again, since it wasn't really a requirement for a virtual classroom, that's what I added in there. And I did have everything graded. And one of my students, she actually decided to complete the pre and post assessment. So for the pre assessment, she has the KWL chart complete. So I added good job. You did an excellent job describing what you already know and want to know about pets. You even completed the learn section, which was not really required. And keep up the good work. And then for the post assessment, it was pretty much the same thing for the first student that wasn't required. And for the student that did complete it, I did look through her presentation and I added feedback. So I said, great job. I looked through your presentation and at your sources. Your topic of recycling was well supported with reliable sources. And here is just an example of how she answered the questions, added her citation, questions, and then where she found it. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.